You are listening to the Unsoberly Sober Show. I'm your host, Magnify Maggie. This podcast will turn your perception of going sober upside down. We're going to be working from the inside out to get you that dream life. So make sure you stick around for the end of the episode where I'm going to walk you through our weekly positive pursuit exercise to begin rewiring that beautiful mind, baby. Welcome back to the Unsoberly Sober Show. I'm your host, Maggie Jensen, aka Magnify Maggie. Today on the docket, we are talking about something that a lot of people all of the sudden think is toxic, and that's positive thinking. I got my girl Lana here. She's all fired up for this topic.
Hi everyone. But as soon as she told me the subject, as soon as we were about to start, she said toxic positivity. I said, what? How is that even Go ahead, girl.
Yeah, it's an oxymoron for real. But I can see where people get confused with positive thinking. They think positive thinking is ignoring the issue. Positive thinking is acting and pretending like everything is okay. And I'm like, okay, let's break this down. So that's what we're going to do today. Last week, I had you perform the thought audit. And as you could see, you have a column of negative thoughts, negative programs that are literally running in your subconscious mind, controlling your behavior. We're going to dive into that subject another episode, but there's a little hint. Those negative thoughts need to be transformed into positive thoughts, but that does not mean like pretending the world is rainbows and sunshine. What does positive thinking mean? So I want to kind of audit the room here, the figurative room. I'm curious how many listeners have heard of, read, or watched The Secret. The Secret was basically, it came out and it became like an instantaneous cult classic in early 2000s. People were like, oh my gosh, I can think about getting a new car and all of a sudden I'm going to get a new car. I can think about getting more money and all of a sudden I'm going to get more money. And then they're like, wait, just thinking about it didn't actually do anything. So then there's a bunch of people that started to study The Secret, but then they didn't have the results that The Secret promised. Well, what is The Secret? The Secret was a book by Rhonda Byrne, and she actually turned that into the documentary-esque style movie. And now it's even a dramatized fiction type movie, Dare to Dream with Katie Holmes. So Rhonda Byrne basically articulated the thing that the most successful historical leaders have said, dating back more than 6,000 years ago, in all civilization, every successful historical figure that's ever been recorded, no matter their background, no matter their ethnicity, their religious beliefs, they all were recorded saying, we become what we think about all day long. So she made this movie. People watch this movie. They get really infatuated with this idea of like, I'm going to think of a new car. I'm going to think of a new house. And then, oh gosh, I didn't get it. It didn't just like, poof, magic dragon, there it is. I've actually been in recovery facilities and I've taught the power of positive thinking. And when we reference the law of attraction, which is what The Secret is based off of, and we talk about positive thinking, there will be members in the room, much like the old version of me, that was like, I thought about more money and my house got foreclosed. That must mean it doesn't work. And what I want to say is that The Secret and most of the literature that focuses alone on the law of attraction does us a disservice in understanding the difference between positive thinking and positive expectations. There is a huge difference between thinking, which is basically wanting, wishing, hoping, and expecting. So what if every day you think about a new car? I think it would be lovely to have a new car. And then on the tail end of that, you have, but I don't deserve that. That, but I don't deserve that is actually what's setting you up within the law of attraction. The law of attraction does not, within the confines of The Secret, Big hugs to Rhonda Byrne, but we got to do a better job. She does not articulate that the law of attraction is actually a subsidiary law under the law of vibration. So what we think about on a conscious level, oh, cool, great, that's a great head start. But can you get emotionally involved in that idea enough to the point that you expect that to happen for you? Can you think about a new car to the point that you believe that you could do the things to get you the new car? That's what sets up your body's vibration. Every cell of your body is directed by your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind will direct those cells and the vibration of your body based on what you believe and expect you are worthy for. So if you think, I want to be fit and healthy and alcohol free, but I don't believe I could. But I think that the whole world would think I have a problem. I want to make it through the day without ever thinking about alcohol, but I'm so obsessed with it. That everything that you say after but is actually what you are attracting into your life. So you can think, you can hope, you can wish all day long, but we aren't getting by on hopium in this community. We are making sure that we transition those hopes, those what could possibly be deemed as toxic positivity. We're going to transition those hopes, those wants into actual beliefs and expectations. We do not get what we want, we get what we expect. And so when we're talking about positive thinking, if that term even kind of turns you off, I want you to transition it to constructive thinking versus destructive thinking. Because, like I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, it's not always rainbows and sunshine. Sometimes it doesn't happen to just appear this beautiful, shiny option in relation to this dark, dreary option that's typically what we think about positive and negative thinking. Sometimes the positive thought is just, this is the thing that I should think about and get emotionally involved in to get me to the next step instead of spiraling downwards. So constructive thinking versus destructive thinking. So as you are looking at your thought audit from last week, you can see that left side, it only causes self-destruction to believe and expect those things in your life. Now, on that right-hand side, you can see all of these constructive thoughts. It would build me up to believe that I am healthy, that I am free, that I am disciplined, that I am a morning person. That is a belief that a lot of people think is like built into their DNA. They're like, I'm just not meant for the mornings. But what happens when we believe that thing about ourselves? Well, in my case, the fact that I'm not a morning person meant that gave me a permission slip to be doing what, God knows what, out and about until about 6 a.m. and then come into my house and try to go to sleep. So of course I was not a morning person. I was a night person because that's what I believed about myself. And that was not constructive thinking. So thinking in a way that will produce the desired outcome. This takes reverse engineering. So I want you to start thinking about yourself as a really awesome reverse engineer. You can look into the future and you can say, what is it that I want from my day? What is it that I want from my week? What is it that I want from my life? And you can say, okay, if that's what I want, then what would I have to do right now to go ahead and move in that direction? And what you find is when you start to think in this constructive way, you change your own results. And your level of consciousness is actually boosted when you start to see that changing your expectations and your beliefs actually changes the way the world responds to you. This is beautiful because I think for myself, going through life, as I was mentally dependent on alcohol, I thought the whole world was against me and everything was happening to me and everybody else was mean or vengeful or they didn't want me to succeed. But then I started to see that I was actually bringing that and attracting that energy into my life based off of the thoughts that I entertained and got emotionally involved in and destructed with of, I'm not worthy of great friends. I'm not worthy of nice people in my life. I'm only worthy of these types of people. So I started to actually start thinking in this constructive manner, and I started to make really positive relationships. I started to attract really positive opportunities. And the only thing that changed was my image of myself and the things that I got emotionally involved with, the thoughts that I allowed to become expectations and beliefs. We're going to dig into beliefs a lot throughout this show, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of what beliefs really do. If we believe something, that is a truth to us. Everybody has their own personal beliefs, but what you believe about you is the most important director of your life. I'm going to take another quote, another page out of a great book. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. He says, you do not have a drinking problem. You have a self-image problem. You believe that you are the type of person that deserves this lifestyle. And you don't believe that you are the type of person that deserves a healthy, free lifestyle. This is what you believe about yourself, and you will make it true through your mind. Your mind will create your reality. So when you start to think constructively and reverse engineer things, you start to see just how you have taken that driver's seat back. Remember last episode when I said I felt my whole life like I was sitting in the back seat and I was just going to wind up wherever the car wound up. But then I started to believe in myself and think constructively, and it was as if I just got plucked out of that back seat, dropped right into that driver's seat, and my hands were at 10 and 2, and I was alert as fuck. And I could see how all of my behaviors in the past led me to those results. Now, I am getting new results. Our present results are the product of past thinking. If you continue to focus on present results, you will attract thoughts that are direct replicas of your past thoughts. If you're focusing on your present results and they are negative, you are going to attract the same thoughts that got you in that position. Now, I heard this theory, this concept articulated probably 100 times before it set in. So I wanted to start this show off with it, and we're going to reiterate it throughout maybe every other episode, as many times as we need to hear it. Our present thoughts, if we want to change the future, we have to change the present thoughts. Our present results, your bank account, maybe your sobriety days, maybe your mental or physical dependency on alcohol. Maybe it's your relationships, your weight, your bill of health that your doctor gave you. Whatever that looks like, your present results are the product of past thinking. If you want to change your present results, you have to think in a way that brings about the new things. So to change your future results, you have to stop thinking about what's going on now. And that was exactly what happened. I learned when I looked back, I said, how the heck did I just break out of this paradigm that once an addict, always an addict, the drink takes me, and now here I am and I can have a sip of alcohol and I don't even want it, but I'm not spiraling into relapse. How did I do that? I learned this concept. What I was doing before is I was focusing on my present results. I'm dependent on alcohol. Nobody loves me without it. I don't even know what I would do without drinking. What would I do with my free time? What would I do with my hands? Kind of thing, you know? I was thinking and I was so focused on present results that caused a stream of thoughts that were direct replicas of my past thoughts that got me in that boat. So I stopped those thoughts and I said, who do I want to be in the future? What do I want my future results to be? Future results require present action. Present action requires constructive, positive thinking. So as you reverse engineer, maybe you want to substitute, I'm going to use that word a lot. Maybe you want to substitute the the thrill and the adrenaline rush and the dopamine rush that you get from alcohol, maybe you want to substitute that with like getting really excited about taking your career seriously because you do love it and you want a promotion and you say, I want to become the best version of myself to serve all these people in my career space. What would I need to be thinking about and doing and believing and expecting if I want that raise or if I want that opportunity? Well, maybe that would look like today thinking and acting like the person that epitomizes that role. Maybe it's I start thinking and acting like the person I want to be eventually now. And anytime there's some sort of indication to my present results that I shouldn't focus on, anytime that happens, I'm going to actually just ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. Now, people in your life are going to tell you, this is illogical. You're stupid. You're silly. That's because we've all been programmed to look at our present results. Look at your grade card, sales report, doctor's notes. All of society has us programmed to look at our present results as this is your worth. This is who you are and this is who you will always be. But that is not the case. So if you want to see new results in that bank account, new results on your sales report, then who do you need to be to do that? I need to be energized. I need to be focused. I need to be a positive, optimistic person. I need to be somebody with a really wide bandwidth, meaning I need to have a lot of mental capacity. I need to be a master of my mental state. Well, if I'm doing that and I'm really focused on that, then I guess if I thought about drinking, that wouldn't even fit that focus. That wouldn't fit that identity. The person that is excelling and spending their free time loving, serving others in this role or in this job capacity, they don't have time to drink because that would leave them not wanting to go to work and not feeling enthusiastic about their life. So that wouldn't fit. I want you to think about a magnifying glass. And yes, that is the name of my company. So I'm going to pitch a little bit here. Why I call myself Magnify Maggie, and why I founded Magnify Progressive Wellness. I've already shared the little story about progressive, my focus on progression last episode, starting where you are and just getting excited about little by little progressing every day, 1% better, right? But I want to backtrack and think about a magnifying glass. A magnifying glass, you hover over anything. And let's say there's a beautiful piece of art and down in the corner, the artist messed up and spilled a bunch of brown ink. It looks like a little pile of shit down there. You could take your magnifying glass and you could hover it over the beautiful flowers and the landscape and the mountains, and you would see nothing but beauty. And it would give you this feeling inside like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Or you could take that magnifying glass and focus solely on the shit down at the bottom. And then you'd be like, this entire painting is ugly and this is not anything to be excited about. And this artist is a failure. You get what you focus on, and your mind is a metaphorical magnifying glass. What you give energy to grows. And if you give energy to the constructive thoughts, I guarantee you will pick up speed. You will feel momentum like you never felt before. And before you know it, one day, 1 week, 1 month will go by and you'll be like, by golly, I never even thought about drinking. Alcohol, who? Because you're so focused, you've got your magnifying glass hovering over growth, personal development. You're going to personally develop yourself right out of dangerous drinking, I promise. But if you take that same magnifying glass and you hover it over your old identity, who you really believed you were down to your DNA and your bones, I was an addict, I was genetically predisposed to this, and this is my life, then you are going to get those results. You're going to attract debt, poor relationships. You're going to be ill. You're going to have sickness. This is the way the human body works, depending on what we put our mental energy towards. So you have that magnifying glass in your hand, in your mind, your entire time. And I want you to think, anytime you feel your body go fatigued, go lethargic, you get a headache, your stomach aches. That's your body telling you that you are entertaining a negative thought. When you realize, oh, I just got really tired. What am I hovering my magnifying glass over? Oh, I'm thinking about, oh, my boss wanted to talk to me today and I'm really anxious about that. And I'm thinking that it's going to go wrong. And God, that really makes me want to drink. Oh, well, shit. I could think in a different direction. I could take that magnifying glass and hover over here around maybe my boss wants to tell me that I've been doing a really good job. Maybe my boss just wants to check in on me because they've seen a positive change. Maybe my boss just wants to talk about HR or not me. Maybe it has nothing to do with me. So why am I creating this huge mental roadblock and destructive thinking around why my boss wants to talk to me that's creating this feeling in my mind? And then I want to drink it away. Well, what if I just move that magnifying glass over and I start to focus on what I want in life? I shared this last week. I'm going to say it again. The prescription to any problem is to take your mind off of the problem and put it on the image you wish to create. So as we talk about putting it on the image you wish to create, I want to get into this week's exercise, this week's challenge, and this will be a daily challenge. This is the daily self-analysis, and we're going to be focusing on some areas of disciplined habits, healthy routines, and I want you to give yourself a score every evening. But here's the thing. We're going to switch things up. Instead of giving yourself a score from this day, this is my report card for the day, I'm going to ask that you do this self-analysis for tomorrow. What does that mean, Maggie? That means that you are going to, every night, you're going to have your BCA shake, or your protein shake, or maybe your herbal tea, whatever it is, in a fancy glass that makes you feel good and posh and just so fancy. You're going to have that. You're going to get relaxed, and you're going to have your little handy dandy notebook, and you're going to give yourself a grade in the following areas for the next day. What does this do, Maggie? Well, it programs and primes your mind to feel motivated to live up to the score that you gave yourself the last night, so that it's already the blueprint. I've got to show up and I've got to act. And what you will find is, as you practice this, as you get skilled in this, when you give yourself a 5 in the sleep area, you actually go to bed on time that night because, hey, I already put 5 down, 1 out of 5, 5 being the best. I guess I got to do it. And then when you wake up the next morning, you're going to be really happy with yourself because you followed through on your goals. We're not acting reactively. We're being proactive. We're creating what is called future memories, which is really wild. We'll get into that one day, but this is, again, just a little digestible piece for you to work on your own. So I want you to give yourself a grade in these areas. Let's start with sleep, because if you're not sleeping right, you're not living right. I used to be the one that said, I'm not a morning person. I also used to say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, because I was justifying my behavior. Now I look back and I see a lot of my depression and my anxiety was not only brought on by the alcohol, but it was exacerbated by my chronic sleep deprivation. This is real. Watch it. Like, look it up. Sleep deprivation will make you go insane. Have you seen Awake on Netflix, by the way? I'm a sleep nerd. That's a whole nother episode. Okay. So if you're not sleeping, you're not living. So get to bed. If you need 8 hours of sleep, you need to be in bed for 8.5 hours sleep minimum. If you're going to bump that down to 7 hours, be in bed for 7.5 hours. Give yourself that buffer time to fall asleep. And if you have to wake up to go to the bathroom, give yourself a little extra time. Get a Whoop band. Get some kind of tracker, an Aura ring, something to track your sleep. But that's going to be one area. Give yourself a score before you even go to bed that night on what was your self-analysis in that area. 1 out of 5, 5 being the best, 1 being, I thought about it and then I said, fuck that. I thought about it and then I went the other direction. Be honest. Sleep. Next thing, daily steps. I know this sounds maybe rudimentary, elementary, but getting outside will help your body and your mind. There are amazing things that happen with our hormones when we have sun exposure. When we're out with the trees, they say Mother Nature's vibration is perfect. And let me tell you, now, anytime that I have a stressful moment, some kind of trigger, my first thought is I'm going to go for a walk because I've built that into my identity. I don't even think about alcohol because if I thought about alcohol when I was stressed, my thought would be like, oh, that would make it worse. That would really make this feel shitty. So now my mental habit is, okay, I'm feeling stressed. First idea is to go for a walk. Start giving yourself a daily step goal. It does not have to be 10,000 steps right off the bat. Let's say you start to track it and you see that you're averaging around 1,000 steps. Take it up to 3,000. That's your daily goal for the next day. Give yourself an analysis now. Say, I know tomorrow at the end of the day, I'm going to be so proud of myself because I got a 5 on my daily steps. So give yourself that 5 before you even start that day. Next up, affirmations. Those positive thoughts, those things that you have on that right-hand column of your thought audit, how well did you integrate those into your life? I notice with my personal clients that when they are having hard days, hard weeks, we look at these metrics, and the one thing that typically falls off is the affirmations. And the moment they start reintegrating them, they're like, oh, wow, so good. Remember, our present results are the product of past thinking. This works in both directions. If our present results are great, that means whatever we were doing before, we have to keep doing it. So affirm the shit out of those positive statements. Keep them going, broken record style. You will memorize them. You'll say them automatically. They will become your mental habit. Ugh, words are harder today. They will become your habitual mental program. There we go. Your mind will automatically go there. At first, it's going to feel difficult, but your mind will automatically go there the more you repeat them. Affirmations, give yourself 1 out of 5, give yourself that fucking 5 so that your mind is drawn as soon as you wake up, you start doing it because you've already put that score down. Okay, sleep, steps, affirmations, nutrition, 3 square meals a day, keep the cravings at bay. 3 square meals a day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, start there. If you're not hungry in the morning, have yogurt and a piece of fruit. Have a protein shake. Have a freaking donut. I don't really care what it is in the beginning. Give yourself the habit of eating those things. There is so much to be said about regulating our mood, regulating our impulse control when our blood sugar is actually stabilized. And nutrition does all of this. This is why I love working with nutrition in my clients' world, because there's so many things to know about the human body that can be regulated with the right diet. Protein. You need protein. If you've been drinking, you need to be healing your body with protein. Your ideal body weight in grams of protein every day. I'm 140 pounds. I like where I'm at, so I eat 140 grams of protein every day. I split that up amongst my meals. I have protein shakes. I have yogurt. I have cottage cheese. I have eggs. I have bacon. Central-cut bacon actually has a lot of protein in it compared to other ones, so I go for that one. I eat steak, chicken, all of the animals. I'm sorry, but they are meant for our bodies and we need those amino acids. So 3 square meals a day. Once you get a hang of that, 2 little snacks in there. Give yourself that evaluation. Start in those areas and tell me that your life has not shifted. I dare you to put 5s down every night for 2 to 3 weeks straight. It might not be perfect the next day, but guess what? You're going to become aware of maybe why you didn't go to bed. You're going to start becoming aware of your activities, your attitude, how you spend your free time that kept you from actually getting that 5 that you gave yourself the night before. And you're going to get tired of your bullshit. You're stopping the avoidance technique, the coping mechanism of not thinking about it, just avoiding the fact that I've been not showing up for myself. That's really created a lot of internal strife. You're going to get tired of your bullshit and you're going to start doing those things. You're going to feel motivation intrinsically, not just forced willpower. Your mind is going to tell you, I want to go for a walk because the last 2 days I gave myself a 5 and I didn't go for the walk when I told myself I would. And I just don't want to keep doing that anymore. I wonder why I'm so resistant towards this walk. Maybe I should just go try. Oh my gosh, this walk, my whole perspective on life changed. Here's an extra fun tip. As you walk, don't stare down at the ground. Take your chin, turn it up, look at the sky. Remember that you are an organism on this little tiny rock that's spinning around our universe. And wow, life is good. So this really helps us detach from any kind of emotional issues and shift our perspective. Now, that was a lot for this weekly activity, but really it is simple. Those 4 areas, work on them. Continue to build your identity that you are the type of person that values these things in your life. Sleep, steps, positive self-talk, positive self-imagery, which is built through affirmations, aka autosuggestion. And then lastly, eating, fueling your body, treating your body like a treasure chest, a gem. Oh my gosh, I am blessed with this rig, this vessel that's carrying me through life. I better treat it with respect. And in fact, the more respect I give it, the better it makes me feel in life. So there is the quote unquote homework for this week. As always, fill me in. How's it going? Where are you hitting some mental roadblocks? What's coming up for you? And what kinds of wins are you experiencing with just these little shifts? I like to say small hinges swing big doors. So let's open those big doors with these small hinges towards a new direction in your life. Keep thinking different to drink different. Until next time, remember, it all goes down in your mind. Lots of love. Magnify Maggie signing out.